The Wasteland, a new Spanish horror movie out on Netflix for you guys to go and check out. This movie, we follow a young family who is out in the middle of nowhere trying to survive to get away from the war that is breaking out around them. Meanwhile, something dark is lurking beyond their property and is getting closer and closer to them, and things start to get interesting. So I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts on this new horror movie. Let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Smash it down below. Smash that like button for me and click subscribe as well. And without further ado, let's jump into this review of The Wasteland. Okay, so The Wasteland, a new Spanish horror movie out on the Netflix right now for you guys to go and check out. I want to see more foreign films this year. That is one of my goals, is to see more of it, especially after watching Squid Game and, seeing The Silent Sea and seeing some other foreign films as well. I want to see a lot more. So when I saw this Spanish horror out, The Wasteland, I was like, cool. Watch the trailer. Absolutely looked fun, entertaining. Looked like it was going to give me that horror and elements that I was looking for. So I sat down and watched it. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, for something that is low budget, one location, this is actually quite good. I actually had a lot of fun with this movie. Is it the best horror movie I've ever seen? No, it's not the best horror movie I've ever seen. Is it a good horror movie though? Yes, it is a good horror movie. I was entertained throughout, and it got some pretty mad moments in this as well that was kind of like very thrilling. So to start off with this film, I must say, the cinematography is actually quite impressive in this film. The location is in a little house in the middle of nowhere. It literally is. There's just desert, wasteland, sort of like crap everywhere. But I like the way that this looked. It was pleasantly aesthetic to look at. It was gorgeous. The lighting, the coloring was all on point, and I did not have a single problem with that. I thought the music was outstanding as well. It really had that irky horror feel in scenes where it was necessary. And that's the key. You can have this great music, but if you don't use it correctly, then it doesn't fit. But I think all the musical choices that they chose for certain things fit, and I really, really like that. Now, I must say also, the use of the dark entity that they have in this film was done really well. I have always liked the idea when you're using these dark entities or creatures or anything like that, you should probably do it, if it's not a sequel, you should probably do it in a way like Alien and Predator do it, where you hide it for majority of the film and then it comes out in that final act and we see what it actually is. Because having that, it just adds the suspense, because you're trying to figure out what this dark entity or creature looks like, and it's much, much more effective when you're hearing the sounds of it moving around but you can't see it. It adds that extra horror element of the suspense, the anxiety. You're like, what does this creature look like? Where is it? I can hear it, but I can't see it. I don't know what it looks like. And the design, when you do see this dark entity, is quite freaking scary and cool looking. I really liked how they did this dark entity. It just worked. This was the easiest way I can sum up this movie is, this is what Slender Man should have been. This is what Slender Man should have been. I thought it had that element where you're sitting there on the edge of your seat watching this family slowly lose their mind because of this dark entity. And the way that the mother just crumbles mentally is really done with such class and such high execution levels. I thought that worked tremendously. I felt so sorry for her. I felt sorry for the kid as I was watching her just crumble before him. And it just makes and adds that extra element that makes you really invested in these characters, because you feel bad for this kid because his mother is just falling apart in front of him, while this dark entity is all over the place and he doesn't know where it is, and there's moments where she sees it but he can't see it. It was just done so well, and the way they introduced the legend of this dark entity I thought was clever as well. And it helps another character. The dad in this as well is great as well, and you can tell that he is shocked by something in his past, and when they reveal it, it all starts to make sense, and when things start to really kick on, it works really well. Its pacing is slow at the start. It takes a while to get in, but once you get into it, it is really, really good. I'd say once you hit that third act, that's when it all puts it all together and is really, really good. I had shivers down my spine watching that third act. I thought that was done really well. Absolutely fantastic. For a movie that I wasn't expecting anything great of, it actually exceeded my expectations, and I thoroughly enjoyed this film quite a lot more than I think I would have. But I'm very interested to see more foreign films, and so far it's off to an absolute kicker of a start, and I really enjoyed this. Now, the characters themselves, they could have done a bit more deep dive and really focused on them a bit more. I felt like I understand what they were trying to do in the first act. They're trying to build this chemistry and connection with the characters, trying to give us that connection where it's relatable. And it is in a way relatable. You can relate to some of the relationship. Like the mother and son relationship is probably the biggest one that is actually focused on, and you can really grasp that whole relationship and you're invested in them. The father is a completely different type of relationship with his son, and that makes sense to why he would be that way as well. And with the circumstances that are going on around them, I thought that was quite good as well, and that really gave you an understanding of why the father is doing what he's doing. I do have a few issues with this film though. It's no means perfect. Like I said, the pacing at the start can be better. I think it does drag in the first act a bit, and you're kind of waiting for it, and you're kind of sitting there like, okay, are we going to get to it? Are we going to get to it? I get what they were trying to do, trying to establish those characters early on, but I just think the pacing let it down in that situation, and it could have moved a bit quicker as well. And that way, it wouldn't have dragged so much to the point where you're sitting there and you're kind of like, when is this entity going to come in? When is all the stuff going to happen? And then once you get into that second act, that's when it starts to pick up and you start to really get real invested in it. I thought the use of the father as well, I'm not a big fan of what they did with the father. I don't see how it would make sense for him to do something like what he did. But, I mean, that was a really different choice, let's say the least. I wouldn't have chosen to do that with the father. I thought having the father probably there would have made it more impactful, and I would have liked to see the dynamic with him there. But what they did with him just kind of felt like out of place in this film. It felt out of character for him, because the way they establish him as a character, you really get a sense of him as protecting his family, trying to teach his son to become a man, and then he just like makes a decision that I'm kind of like, why would you do that? I don't understand that. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I really enjoyed it. I had a ball with it. It's good. It's fun. I would highly recommend it. It should be out on Netflix for everyone to go check out now. The Wasteland, a Spanish film. Yeah, I enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Smash it down below. Smash that like button for me and click subscribe as well. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe. Peace out.